Hello everyone, this is Sumerian, and this tutorial is going to be on moving the GodMother. I just recently had a toy box called the GodMother, and what I did is I used the logic from my advanced triggering actor video I already did to move around the GodMother. And I'm going to show you how I hook this logic up together in case you want to try something like this yourself. So I'm going to speed through creating the actual triggering actor setup, just because you could watch the other video to see how that is all being set up. But in essence, what's going to be happening here is we're going to be capturing the triggering actor information from the townsperson, and we're going to be looping it so that we always keep it throughout the entire game. And what we need is a long logic chain here. So we always connect the input block to the input of the next gate. Now, this top logic gate of this logic chain is one that keeps the loop going when you're not pressing any buttons. It just keeps the loop going. So this gate's output will do the north direction. This one will do east, south, and west. And the input block of this last logic gate will do what I call a full stop, where I had it set up so that if you talked or you cast, I would just do a full stop no matter what direction you were going. I just made every direction stop. So I'm going to hook this up. What you do is you set it up so that the farthest logic gate down the chain, if it closes, the logic gate above it closes. And you just keep doing that the whole way up. And this always ensures that by the time you close that top logic gate, and so that the signal can now come down the logic chain, you have already ensured that the path is set to the logic gate you need the signal to come out of. I'm just going to, again, as I said, do some of this stuff quickly. The output of every logic gate definitely has to come back to the input of the main logic gate here. And out of the bottom logic gate, since it's the end of the logic chain, I can use the output and the input block for different things, which I will be doing. So I want to make sure the output and the input block both send a signal back to this logic gate. So let's start with some of the things we did here. I'm going to put down 4 weather vanes and probably throw up a trigger area while I'm thinking about it. Let's put a trigger area right about there. I'm keeping it off the ground so that the townsperson doesn't keep passing through it once I've got them through it. And I'm going to go north, east, south, and west. And each of these has to be set up to affect just a triggering actor, and we'll set the force to about 8. Okay, now I'm going to finish up some of the important connections for the logic chain here that is doing all of our triggering actor information. The output of any of these needs to open the top gate to keep that logic or the loop happening. And of course, since we're using both the output and the input block of the bottom one, we have to ensure that both the output and the input block opens this gate. And if this gate opens, we want every other gate to open at the same time. So we will open that one, open that one, open that one, and open that one. There we go. Now, the trick I did in GodMother is I have it set up so that if you push any of the directional buttons, you start moving in that direction until you hit that button again, or until you hit the opposite direction, or unless you talk or cast, in which case we use the full stop. And I do this with basically what I call a flip-flop switch. So what's going to happen is if we want to go up, it's the output of this gate, which will input to that gate. We want to go east, the output of this gate to the east gate. South, output, the input is the south. And if we want to go west, the output inputs to the west. So what we say is output turns the weather vane that it's associated with on. And if this gate is closed, we're going to say the input blocked turns that gate off, where it turns that weather vane above it off. And of course, the question then becomes, well, how do we close these gates? That is simple enough. We're going to build a flip-flop circuit, which involves another logic gate below each of these logic gates. And I missed a little bit. I'll do the first one, then we're going to fast forward through. The output of this logic gate is turning this weather vane on, so it is going to input to the bottom logic gate. The bottom logic gate is open, so when it has an output, I want to close this top logic gate, turn it to the opposite state. And when it closes, I want the bottom logic gate to close. So now, when we get an input into this logic gate, it goes out input block, which turns this weather vane off, and it sends an input into this gate, once I set it up that way, which is now also closed, so it will be sending an input blocked signal out this time, which now opens this logic gate, and when this logic gate opens, it opens the other logic gate. That way, the direction change will always, if you start the weather vane, the next time you're going to stop the weather vane. And I'll just do the rest of them quickly. Seems complicated, but it's not overly complicated. We're just setting it so that every time an input hits this top logic gate, it will turn off or on the weather vane, whichever one it needs to do, and it will set it up so that the next time we receive an input, the logic gate is in the other state. That's all we're really doing. So, what we also want to happen is, say you're going south and you push the button for north. We want this south one to turn off, and we also want to clear its logic gate. So what we're going to say is, whenever this one turns to close, open the opposite one. And we're going to do that to all of them. And we need to turn off the opposite weather vane, which we can't do off the opening or closing of these logic gates, because the open and close of the logic gate don't carry trigger and actor information. So we're going to do it straight from our logic chain over here that has the trigger and actor information. So if north is hit, make sure south is off. If east is hit, make sure west is off. If south is hit, we make sure north is off. And if west is hit, we make sure east is off. Now the input blocked is our full stop. So we want to say input blocked off to every single one of these weather vanes. And we also want to clear all of our logic at the bottom so that no matter what direction you select next, it will turn on that direction as opposed to trying to turn it off. So what we have to do is also say any input blocked is going to open all 4 of these top logic gates, so they're all in a state that will allow a direction push to activate their associated weather vane. Did that make sense? I hope so. Sometimes it feels like I'm not even speaking English. But. And one last one, input blocked. Open. There we go, beautiful. So, we're almost there actually. We have to throw in a remote controller, which we will do. And of course we have to throw down a townsperson that we're going to move out. Remote controller. We'll put that right about here. So again, as I've said before, I'm on the Wii U. So I'm going to say X is my top action button. That will be my north. So if I hit X, I want to close this logic gate so that the output come out of our north logic gate. A is my east, so I will want to close that logic gate. B is my south, so I will want to close this logic gate. And Y is my west, so I want to close this logic gate. And I'm going to set up, if I push the right trigger, I'm going to just do my full stop, which will mean closing this last logic gate. That's all there really is to that. Now, what we do need still is I'll show you how I did the logic for activating my townsperson through the trigger area, or I'll show you a way. Replayers are I love the fact that you can just activate your wand, stand on the replayer, and then set it to record. All without having to hook up buttons or anything silly like that. I'm going to put a block above that trigger area, and then I'm going to stop recording. Then all I have to do is find a townsperson, and let's see, we can't use the actual fairy godmother herself, just like in the game. And I want to make sure I set her to behavior to stand still. Now I'm going to pick her up and put her on this block. And finally, I'm going to throw down a target camera. I want it just slightly behind her, and above a bit. And I'm going to set it up so that it follows, and the camera target is triggering actor. Entered any, activate, and of course I need to capture that triggering actor information for my loop over here. So when she enters that trigger area, I'm going to send an input in here, and I will now be capturing and keeping her information. Making sure. Alright, and so, final thing we have to do. Player 1. When the control mode is activated, I'm going to clear this controller. And that should be it. If we've done this right, this should work just fine. Let's give it a try. And here she floats gently down to the ground. And let's see. I push up, she's going up. I push it again, she stops. Down, stop. Right, stop. Left, stop. I'll go up, and then I'll push the right trigger, full stop. Down, then I push up, then I push down, and it's working exactly how it did in the game. So that is the circuitry I used to move around the GodMother in the toy box called the GodMother. I hope this has been helpful. I hope I haven't gone too fast. If you have any questions at all, feel free to ask me here, or you can always swing by DisneyInfinityFans.com, and I can usually be found somewhere on there. So again, this is Samirian, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day.